So, welcome everyone to Happy Life Habits Inspiration Point. My name is Kully Chera. I'm a happiness coach, and through Happy Life Habits, we positively impact people's happiness and well-being levels. And Inspiration Point is one of these projects. Just to share some of the ground rules, the session is being recorded. We ask you to put your mobiles on silent for the duration. If you could stay on mute, that would be appreciated, especially during the interview process, and if you could have your videos off during then. But when we come to the Q&A, and you're happy to have your videos on, and you can ask questions either directly or via the chat. And similarly, you can keep your video on at the moment, but once we do come to the Q&A, we will ask you to switch your videos off. So as I mentioned, I'm a happiness coach. Just had a reminder pop up on Facebook this week reminding me that it's 4 years ago, around this time, that I got to my training and my certification. So a lot happened in those 4 years. All of it all good and exciting and positive. And that's the lens I see through with life. And lots of wonderful experiences and lots of wonderful people met. And one of those is this project. This project started about a year ago. We called it Inspiration Point, and the purpose of this project is having inspiring, positive, extraordinary people sharing their journey, their challenges and turning points, sharing their daily habits and learning they've had through personal development, happiness and spirituality. And it's 1 hour focused on happiness and positivity, and inspiration. So there might be things that you hear that whoever's sharing resonates with you, and there might be things that you might be facing similarly and be inspired, or there might be things that aren't things you're facing, but you get inspiration from the way people have handled their journeys, and that's what Inspiration Point is about. So it is the format is it's a set of 9 questions. And it's the same 9 questions for each person who comes on the episode. They fill out a form and go through the questions, and then I chat with them, and we work through the questions and see what other bits of interesting information comes through, and prepare ourselves in that manner. And then in this live episode, we will share those 9 questions, and the questions which we can ask ourselves and think of the answers for ourselves. And that is, what makes you happy? What are you currently doing that inspires you? What's been your journey, your challenges and turning points? What are some of your daily habits and routines that support you? And what's one of your favorite quotes? So these are just a sample of some of the questions that we do ask. Our whole series has been sponsored by Balance Consultancy. So we're really appreciative of the team at Balance Consultancy for sponsoring this series as well as the previous series. And with this series, we are on just over the halfway point, episode 4. And with us today, we have Kully Chera. I am going to introduce Kully as someone who I read about on Facebook. It was in one of the groups that we're both in, and she shared some of her journey and some of her story, and I just read it and I thought, wow, this girl has been through a heck of a lot. And I reached out and said, look, I've got a podcast called Inspiration Point. Have a look, and I think some of what you're sharing will be really inspiring for people to hear and partake in. And from when we met, Kully was just really bubbly and really cheerful and really talkative, and really sharing wholeheartedly her experience. And some of the things she's faced over her time has been heartbreaking grief, being in a turbulent toxic relationship, divorce with a few young children at that stage, going into a relationship with a narcissist, and she'll share a bit more about that. It's not much I was aware of before, but when she shared, it was like, oh wow, real eye opener of what can happen. And, you know, she's been through a house fire, like you said, a volatile marriage, domestic violence, endured many years of mental and physical abuse, and she's, you know, worked herself through these challenges with support and with help. She's even been attacked and stabbed through the face with a knife, and overcome alcohol, which she was using as a coping mechanism, and also focused on, you know, losing 14 stone in 13 months. So that's, you know, pretty much more than a stone a month, and she'll share some of that with us. And what she does now is focus on inspiring and supporting others who may be going through similar experiences. And with her friends, you know, they've got a network set up to really help support people who need refuge or help. So, Kully, a really warm welcome to you to Inspiration Point episode, and thank you so much for taking part with this. What I'd like to do maybe is just start with the very first question, if you're happy with that. So, what makes you happy?
Lots of things. I like, well, my cats, my friends, like singing, watching movies. Every day you've got to find something that makes you happy. You've got to find something positive. Even if it's a bad day, you've got to try and find something positive. It could be anything, so like a little movie or a song, anything. But lots of things do make me happy. Yeah. Yeah,
and some of the things you shared just now, as well as before, were you know, family and friends. So that's interconnection.
Yeah, I do like going out, yeah, and spending time with family and friends. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's come through strongly. And the other one you kind of had shared before, but not so focused on yet, or shared just now, was that focus on health and exercise, and you know, all of these things that you've now incorporated.
I do love exercising, and I've got my friends that I spend a lot of time with, especially one. I've got my bestie. My day starts with her, my night ends with her. Even if it's 5 o'clock in the morning, we'll be up and talking, singing, anything. Even my kids will tell you I don't let them sleep half the time. I'll be sitting there just singing away.
Okay, that's good. What actually, I think this might be a good point where, if you'd like to share what prompted you to do the weight loss. I recall you sharing some of this with me before, but what prompted you to do go with the weight loss, and how you went about it, and how you kept that discipline and are still keeping it? Some of the tips and tactics that you used as well, or that I think it would be an interesting one.
Well, it started off being in revenge mode. My ex-husband left me. It's something that I saw in an email that he'd sent to one of his mistresses, and it wasn't a nice message. And as soon as I saw it, I thought, you know what, I'm going to show you. And from that evening, I got up. Well, from that same evening, at first I got up and I thought, you know what, it was hard work at first. When you weigh 28 stone, it's hard work. You make excuses. I can't do this. I'm in pain. But I got up and I thought, let's try 15-20 minutes of just a bit of power walking, something, you know, get on the exercise bike. And yeah, it hurt. And I did think, like, I can't do this. But I got up next morning, 4:30 in the morning. I got up and I carried on every single day. I increased it a little bit more. And every time I got on the scales, I could see a difference. As silly as it sounds, every day it was going down slowly. And the more I saw the scales going down, the more I got a bit of a buzz. And it prompted me to, you know, keep going. By the end of the first week, I could see a little bit difference in the way that I was looking. I could see my shape. Somebody else probably couldn't see, but I could, because I was taking photos of what I looked like, so I could see it. And it kept me going. It became like an addiction. That's the only way I can say it. It became like an addiction where, as soon as you hit that 1 hour exercise, something happens, and it's like you just carry on for another hour. And I can even get to sometimes where I go to the gym after work, and I'll go in thinking, oh, I'm on, you know, spending like an hour in, then I'll tell the kids saying I'm back by, like, let's say 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. And I'll find myself there for another 3-4 hours. And I didn't even realize I was there for that long until somebody comes in and says, look, we're going to close in a bit. you're going to have to go. And it just really, I don't know whether it was the motivation of, you know, what I'm going to look like as I lose more weight, the excitement of actually being able to lose something, whereas all those years I couldn't. I think half of it was because I was always depressed, unhappy, and when you're not in a right mental state, you really can't do something because you're not motivated. Now I was motivated, I was happy, and even though it sounds silly to say that, what actually made me happy about my ex-husband leaving, I wouldn't say that was happy, but it's the fact that it became like I don't know, the weirdness and the happiness of, I'm going to show you, I'm going to do this, and I can see what I'm going to look like at the end. And
I think, you know, there's a couple of things which come through here, which is, you know, you had a really strong why of why you wanted to do that, and that one of the things you did mention to me was, you know, I think you were facing the possibility of a double hip replacement.
I had loads of health problems.
A health related thing, and so that was a bit another motivator there. And you know, you shared that, you know, you got started with it, and it started off small, so 15 minutes or whatever, something manageable. You did it, and next day you did it again, and the next day you did it again, and that's, you know, discipline and routine and the stuff we talk about in habits of building habits, you know, and creating the right environment to do that. And then you were also measuring your progress, and some of these things you might see or feel quickly. Some of them will take a little while, but the consistency is, and the discipline and the persistence is what's important. And then all of that compounds, and you start seeing the difference. And the other thing is also, you know, when we exercise, we're getting endorphins released into our system, which gets the stress out and makes us feel happy and makes us feel joyful. So that's that addiction part. And I think you had shared with me, you were, you know, exercising like 3 times a day. So breakfast, lunch, and dinner is what many of us have. So
it took a bit of research, and I worked out that for me, every 8 hours I needed to keep the metabolism going. So I'd get up early and do it, then I'd do it again in the afternoon, then again in the evening. And like I said, it became like an addiction. So it wasn't just a case of keeping the metabolism going. It was like I enjoyed the feeling that it gave me. So I wanted to feel like that. Even if it meant watching TV, I'd be like, okay, I'm going to exercise at the same time. It was weird. It was like I almost understood what it's like when a lot of couples used to complain saying, oh, that their partner went to the gym and they were spending hours. And I used to complain saying, well, why can't they just come back? And now I understood why they were there for a long time, because they enjoy it. It's you can't explain it unless you really like going there. You can't really explain the feeling that it gives you. It's that buzz it gives you.
Yeah, no, for sure. And like we said, it's the happy chemicals. And also with you know, working out or exercising 3 times a day, what's happening is you're getting that buzz drip fed throughout the day. And also, you know, from what I've learned, you know, when we exercise, that effect or the burn is there, the metabolism.
It is. Plus mentally as well. It's really good mentally. It's like I used to like go to gym at work and look out the window. I had my one specific equipment that I like getting on. I'd look outside and I loved it. It was like, especially when it gets a bit dark and you've got the cars whooshing past, and it was just nice and serene. You've got your earphones in, you listen to music, you're exercising, and you're watching the life go past. And it was nice. It was nice. It was calm. It was calming, and that was good mentally as well. So it's not physically what it does. It's also what it does mentally as well. It's calming. It's that calming time, which a lot of people might think, okay, you're going to the gym after work, you must be tired. No, it was the complete opposite. It was a good place for me to relax. I know it sounds weird to say that as you're power walking, you're relaxing, but it does. It relaxed me mentally and physically. Yeah,
no, for sure. And there is a strong connection between the physical and the mental. So brilliant. Okay. What are you currently doing that inspires you? So what are some of the things you're up to that inspire you at the moment?
Well, I've got my friend who's currently pregnant, so we're just kind of in excitement of her getting ready for the baby. I'm still continuing with my novel that I'd started a few years ago, but then I stopped it. So now I've started back up writing that again. So that's something to keep me going. I'm just enjoying life again, getting, you know, my life back on track after 2 years of not going out doing anything during lockdown. So it's finding that buzz to get going again. Which is a bit different when you're sitting at home and you're not really doing anything except for working and sitting there all day long, is a bit different. So you have to try and find that bit of motivation. Now that places are opening up again, it's nice to get dressed up, go out with my friends and do something. Even something as silly as, I'll say to my friends, I'll make a flask of Indian tea, we'll just go sit in the car, blast the music and just enjoy chatting. It seems silly, but we could do that at home, but it's just nice getting out of the home and just sitting there, just sitting under the stars and just having that little bit of a laugh and a giggle, and just that time to have some time to yourself. And then yeah, I do enjoy them.
Yeah, that's a that's again, you know, that's interconnection and time with people. And yeah, but there was the other thing that you had shared with me, which I wanted to also bring through, was that stuff where you and your friend are setting up the charity and helping.
Yeah.
Can you share a bit more about what you're doing? You know, who are you helping? What it's all about?
Yeah, was basically because there's a few of us who have been through similar experiences with domestic violence, things going wrong in our life, and we decided to get together. And one of the friends has organised. She's got a charity she's creating, so we're going to start helping the girls from this one group. It's called GPG, Girl Power Group, and we're going to help a lot of the people from there to get to the level that we're at. We can see a lot of people where they'll look at us, they'll say that they're inspired by us and they want the help, and we'll try and help them. But instead of just talking to them every day, we want to have like an actual charity where people can go to and a recognised place that they can say, okay, that it's not just one person we go to for advice or help. There's going to be quite a few, and get some professionals on board with us. So it's a slow process, but we're getting there. We're getting there, and we have got quite a few cases that we've taken on board that are quite sensitive, but hopefully we'll get them out there. It'll you know, it's going to be a lot of it'll be out there in the papers soon. It's going to be, as long as the main process for us is helping people, getting them, you know, where they need to be.
Yeah, so in a way it's taking,
and it's hard to explain some of the cases without explaining what's actually going on, you know.
No, that's confidential, so that needs to stay there, but understand domestic violence, this and the, and it's drawing upon the experience of yourself and your friends, of you know, some of those things you've been through, so you can know what to some extent and empathize with what these people are facing, as well as, you know, where to turn to for support and help. So
plus we want somewhere where it's not just a case of where a lot of places they'll be like 9 to 5, you call in between it to get some advice or call up and speak. We want something where there's always somebody on hand, whether it's at night or during the day, somebody is there to have a chat. So you know, we want to do something a bit more different from what other charities do. We want to give that little bit of extra. A lot of places, some people haven't always gone through it themselves, but they'll be there working because they've done a degree or something in it. But whereas we want to be able to show that, look, we've been through it ourselves, we understand it, and that's something that people can understand more. They relate to it more than somebody just saying, oh, I've got a degree in this and that's it, I know what I'm talking about. You don't really know sometimes until you've been through it. It gives a personal,
you can relate to it better. Okay, brilliant. I guess it makes sense to move on to the big question. You know, what's been your journey? What's been some of the challenges, and what's been some of the major turning points? So we've shared a little bit, or given a little bit of an indicator of some of these in the poster as well as in the introduction. But if you'd like to share on that and start from where would you like to on that journey?
Okay, one of the challenges I've had over the years is, well, two of them. We had a house fire, and ever since then I've it's been a fear every time at summertime somebody has a barbecue. As soon as that smell hits me, I just forget where I am, and I think I'm back there again at that night. And it's been a big fear overcoming the smell of fire, barbecues, anything around it. It would make me freeze. It was a horrible thing to remember back again. Another time was when I got attacked and stabbed through the face with a knife. I had a fear of going out about in the dark and anywhere where my attacker had his face covered with a scarf. So everybody I saw out there, suddenly, they could be just normal people walking in the street, just covering their face because it's cold. But for me, it was a sudden fear factor of, are they going to attack me? What are they going to do? It's like I approached them with a feeling that they're going to do something. And as a result of it, I decided not to go out at all, which then meant it took away my kids' childhood. When they do things, events at school, and you have to go after school and pick them from play, I was the mom that said, oh, I can't come, you know, my kid can't come because I don't want to come in the dark. And it seemed silly, but they didn't understand what was going through in my head. For me, the darkness, even putting the bin out, I couldn't do it. I just kept thinking someone's going to be hiding behind that wall, someone's going to come back and get me. And it all stemmed from the fact that when I got attacked, I was sitting in the car and my kids were in the back, and this guy came, just opened the door and just suddenly put his arm around me, around my neck, and started strangling me. And for me, the first moment that I thought, I didn't think, oh, somebody's attacking me. I just thought that it was my ex-husband. I thought, what have I done now? That was the first port of call, just thinking, I went to shock thinking, I'm just sitting in the car, what have I done now? And then I realized, no, this man is not my ex-husband. And then I started to attack back, because obviously he kept, I know in my head, people keep saying, why didn't you just give him your bag that he's asking for? It wasn't the point of giving the bag. It was, for me, it was a case of, as soon as it's weird, when it was my ex-husband, I don't know why, I just kept taking the beatings. It was like I was weak. But when it was somebody else that wasn't him, suddenly it was like, hell no, you're not going to do this to me. All I kept thinking was, my kids are in the back. What if he opened the back door? What if he did something to my kids? And I didn't even feel at first that he tapped me through the face with a knife. I saw something glisten. I know he was going towards my chest, but I blocked him because I'd started taking kickboxing lessons. So I had blocked myself. But then he missed my chest and he got me in the face. And then I remember kicking him backwards. Sorry, the cat's just come in front. I remember that very clearly because he got stunned and he looked at me as if to say, you just hit me. Why do you just do that? And I'm thinking, well, you've just attacked me. So obviously I'm going to do something. And again, I still hadn't felt that I'd been stabbed. I didn't feel anything at all. All I had was this surge of trying to protect my kids and myself, thinking, who the hell are you? What are you doing? I didn't even think about the fact that the keys were already in the car. He could have just jumped in and started and taken the car. All I kept thinking was, how dare you? And afterwards, I remember that he'd taken my bag. Now, there's a series of events. We had the house fire, and because of the house fire, we had not a lot of things left. And what we did, I carried around in my bag because it was like I didn't feel safe anywhere leaving anything. So I kept everything. So then he took my bag. My bag had everything in that was my life. Everything was in my bag. So again, I was like, oh my God, I need my bag back. He's got everything. He's got my address. He's going to know what to do. Now I've hit him. He's going to come back and get my kids. He's going to get me. Everything just got worse and worse as time went by. It got worse. I wouldn't let the kids out. I wouldn't go out. It became like a prison. It became a prison, staying at home, going to work, fearing going out to work. If it was, you know, daytime was fine, but as soon as it came the evening, it was hard. It was hard. And I'd get back home and then I'd just, sorry, Chucky, no. And I just continue with the kids, just trying to do what we could inside the house, but it's not the same. I felt like a bad parent, but again, I wouldn't admit it that I was a bad parent and feeling like a bad parent. I'll just try to say, oh, we'll do something else at home. It's much safer. I'll try and find excuses to say to the kids why we're not going out, why we're not doing the same as other kids and parents. It was hard to explain, but you know, when you've been for that fear factor, you can't get over it.
It sounds like a proper trauma that or a few traumas you're having to deal with.
Yeah, but the only way I got over it was by doing martial arts. As soon as I started taking martial arts up, I felt a lot more safe. And I will never forget that same night after doing a couple of lessons, and I felt brave enough to be able to walk home and catch the bus at 10:30 at night and not be worried. There was no fear. I walked past a whole bunch of guys. They were wearing scarves on their faces and everything. I didn't feel anything. I don't know what it was. I couldn't explain it. I wouldn't say that I was completely over what had happened, but it gave me that protection. I felt good. I felt good. And the way that the sensei had taught me as well, after telling him what had happened to me, he was giving me specific moves to learn. so that I could protect myself out there and not have this fear factor in me.
Yeah, it sounds like a couple of things there. One is you've faced the fear and found a way of transcending that fear, which is by learning a skill and learning to protect yourself and feeling that you can protect yourself. And also both with that and the weight loss and some of the other shifts and changes you were doing, I think all of them feeding into the self-image, the self-esteem, the self-worth and confidence, and increasing all of those arenas to then be able to feel, you're able to face that and walk in the dark. Okay. Is there anything you'd like to share about the mental and physical abuse experience, as well as
it was hard, and a lot of the years that I stayed with my ex, I look back now and think, why did I waste 23 years with him? But when you're in that abuse, it's hard to get out of it, because he made me feel sometimes like, oh, I was loved, and he'd like do the attack and then he'd be like, oh, I'm sorry, and you'd feel like, okay, he made a mistake, it's okay, he won't do it again. But it kept continuing, and I think, I don't know, half of me I think was desperate to make it work because of the way I was brought up in Indian society. It's the way it was, that you're married once in your life and that's it, you continue, you make it work, no matter what happens, you make it work. So, and I didn't have a strong connection with my parents. With my grandparents, yes, but not with my parents. So I didn't have anybody that would say to me, if anything went wrong, oh, you can come back home. I'd look at other girls and I'd see them, if things went wrong, they could go home to their parents. I couldn't. For me, it was just my four walls with my kids, and that was it. And I kept thinking, well, I've got to stick with this. I've got to do it. Maybe I can make it work. He'll change. I was hoping, living in hope that he would change, but it never happened. And I think it became a way of life. I know it sounds silly when you're thinking, well, it's wrong. I know it's wrong in my head, but it became a way of life. And I didn't feel strong. I didn't feel independent. I didn't feel strong enough. I didn't think I could do it financially. I didn't know how to do anything, even to the point where when it came to bills and things, he was doing everything. So I didn't know what I was doing. I had no idea at all what I was doing. My granddad tried to teach me over the years, but I just never listened. As a kid, you just don't. You're like, oh, you know what? Fogged it off and carried on doing what I was doing, thinking, I don't need to learn all this, I'll learn later. But I really do wish I'd learned it all those years ago. I know it's simple now. I look at it, it's something as simple as you just set up a direct debit and you pay your bills. But for me, it was a big thing, an absolutely big, fearful thing. And then I kept thinking, I've got a part-time job. How am I going to do this? But by the grace of God, I got myself a promotion. I got myself the full-time job. And that was good. That was a good feeling. I remember being told at work that I'd got the job, and I fell to my knees. All I kept thinking was, thank you, God, I can now pay my bills. I don't have to worry if this man doesn't pay a single penny for my kids. I can do it myself. And it was about surviving, keeping the house, keeping a roof over my head, and making sure I'm not a burden to anybody. I'd never taken a penny off my parents or anybody, so I didn't want to be a burden now to have to go home or ask for anything. It was about trying to make it work for me and the kids. And everything was one by one falling into place. But whilst I was with him, the abuse, in a way, I was also scared. He would see little things like I didn't want to wind him up, even something silly as he would get wound up just by me asking, oh, why didn't you pick your phone? Where was you? What do you want for dinner? He would just go off on one day. I remember he came home and he asked me what I was making for dinner. I said I was making a chicken curry, but then I decided, well, I hadn't had one of the ingredients, so I thought I'll make something else. As soon as he saw it, he just got the plate, threw it onto the floor, threw it against the wall, and I just thought to myself, okay, that's my fault. This is my fault. I shouldn't have done this. I've wound him up now. It's my fault. I deserve the beating I got. I deserve this. I deserve that. It was always a case of every time he made me feel like it was my fault. It was my fault for asking where he was. It was my fault for even calling him. I remember one day I was worried because I hadn't heard from him for 2 days. So I called up his cousin and I said, do you know where he is? And his cousin told me, he was like, yeah, he's been at the warehouse, he's there, something had happened. So I thought, okay, but why couldn't he just tell me? I'm his wife. Where was he going to be for 2 days? And I wasn't going to think he was dead somewhere. So as soon as he came home, all I did was ask him, where have you been? I didn't even shout it. I just asked him nicely, caringly, where have you been? That was it. I got a beating. Never asked me again. Never called my cousin. Never asked any of my parents or my family where I am. And that was it. And it became, in a way, I got very good at hiding everything that was going on around me. I just thought in my head, you know what? I can't let anybody else know what's going on. If I do, I'm going to look stupid. I'm going to look weak. And it wasn't until one day I was at work. And you know what? I'm glad this guy at work did recognize what was happening. He was sitting on the left of me, and I think it was a very hot day. And I must have just like moved my hair from the side, and I was just having like just moving it. And he saw all the bruises on the side of me that I was hiding. And he took me to one side and he goes, cool, what's all this? And I tried making some stupid lies up, saying, oh, I walked into the door, or, you know, I fumbled and I fell. I got tripped over the kids, you know, toys. And he was like, I'm not silly. I can see what's going on. He goes, look at you trembling. And then he got one of the other girls and my boss to take me in another room. And they took my top off and realised how much of bruising I had on me. And that's when they decided to intervene and said to me, you know, you can't carry on like this, you need help. And with their help, I got a little bit more stronger and stronger, to the point where I could say to him, if you ever lay a hand on me again, I'm going to call the police. My workmates know what you're doing now. And little by little, instead of hitting me and beating me, he soon just stopped coming home. He just stayed at wherever he'd been. And then later on, it was from there that things unfolded, finding out through a private detective who I was hoping was going to prove to me wrong, saying, look, it's all in your head, there's nothing going on. I wasn't expecting to be sat down to be told that he'd been having over 53 affairs. That broke me. That completely broke me. And then from there stemmed my alcohol problem. I couldn't get through the pain unless I'd had a drink. I'd make sure the kids were safely in, you know, upstairs in bed, and then I would just drink and drink till the pain would go. And sometimes the pain wouldn't go, and then I'd just sit there crying. And in the mornings you'd get up and I'd tremble because I'd need something, and I'd tremble because I needed it. And I'd get to work and I remember breaking down and saying to my boss, look, I've got this problem. And again, they were really supportive. My employment have been so good to me. They got me into counselling, helped me. They were there every step of the way. They never once threw it in my face and said, you're inadequate, you're like this, you're like that. Never once. But the breaking point for me to change, I think, was when I went to Asda one day with my kids. And as kids do, they took the trolley. I thought they went to the kids section, but no, they went to the alcohol section. My kids started filling up the trolley, the biggest trolley they could find, with all the alcohol that they'd seen me drinking. And they said, Mum, is this enough? And I remember getting so embarrassed, looking, everybody's faces looking at me. And I just got the trolley and I said, kids, no, we've made a mistake. Oh, Mummy doesn't drink this. And I started walking away, and I felt that disgust in me. This is what my kids see me as. And then when I got back home, I remember going to all the different places, which I didn't even realise I was unconsciously doing, where I found a lot of bottles I was hiding around the house, which were my go-to when I was having a stressful moment. Just pick it up, have a quick swig and put it back of the cupboard, back of the microwave, in the laundry basket, the back of the bed. There was different places. And I didn't even realise what I'd been doing. Even my mum came, and mum goes, I'd noticed a lot more bottles in the bin outside. I didn't realise my mum had been keeping an eye on what was going on, but she didn't know what to say.
Yeah.
So it was hard to face it, but you know what? It was also good that I had to face it the way I did. It made me wake up and realise, you know what? I've got to do this. And I'm so glad and lucky I had all that support around me to keep me going. And I'm very grateful to these people every single day.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it sounds like you had a really good support structure from...
I did. I've always had lots of support. Yeah, without them, I don't think I would be here today. I wouldn't have survived. I wouldn't have survived, especially as I had 2 breakdowns. Because of everything my ex-husband was doing, it was hard to take it all in. And even my GP was so fantastic. He would always check on me regularly, making sure I was okay, sticking to the counselling. And when my counselling session stopped, they normally have a break in between before they can take you back on again. But the lady was so lovely. She did something amongst the paperwork in a loophole so that I could quickly be seen again within 2 weeks. So I didn't have to fret and sit there. And I didn't want to be on antidepressants. I said, I don't want to be on this, for the rest of my life. So I found alternative ways. I found crystal treatment, and it helped me aligning my body with the chakra, alignment, everything. It was so good for body and mind that I didn't need to be on any pills at all. And then the more happy I got, the more support I got, the more it kept me going. And that was the best thing. If I didn't,
a virtuous cycle.
It was, and I didn't even have my family behind me. My family did not back me at all. So if I didn't have those workmates, I would have nothing. Yeah, and that kept me going.
Wow. I think as you were sharing some of your experience, that for me it was quite hard to relate to some of those, not having experienced it or witnessed it, or anyone in my immediate circle having gone through some of those things. So very difficult to relate to.
And it was different having the alcohol problem. People think that you have to be an alcoholic to have an alcohol problem. No, for me it was, with an alcoholic, they'll just keep drinking and drinking all day because their body's got a thirst. But with me, it was a coping mechanism for the pain, and it's like the pain was constantly there. I'd get up, look at the pictures, look at my ex-husband and think, why did you do this to me? And I felt so low in my life, like I was worthless.
Yeah.
I felt fat and frumpy. I felt like nobody's going to want me. And every time there was an argument with anybody, my dad was a bit of a narcissist as well. He'd always bring it up in my face and say to me, nobody's going to want you. You're a waste of space. Nobody's going to want you. From day one, even when I was born, because I was a girl, they didn't want me. I was left in the hospital for 2 weeks. They didn't want to take me home. And my granddad, bless him, he went and brought me home, and he says, no, she's our family, she's coming home. And he brought me up and loved me like his own. So I haven't been brought up as a granddaughter, I've been brought up as his own daughter. And he's always been there, always.
Yeah.
It's all again to do with the support. When you don't have that support system being brought up, that's when things break down.
Yeah, but it's like, from what you just shared, from the day you were born, you've just had challenges and obstacles to face and work through, and to see where you are now is just like amazing. It really is.
Always one thing after another. It was always like life was trying to show me that I was not good enough, that I couldn't do anything. And even when I got my job, the best thing about it for me was that everybody else had degrees when they got their jobs. I didn't. I barely got GCSE, except for my GCSE music, which I'm really good at. Everything else I flopped at. Because again, because of the abuse, even when I was a child, there was a lot of abuse going on, and it was always a case of, you've got to go to the shop and work, you don't need school, you don't need grades. Indian girls don't do anything. You're supposed to just learn how to make food and cook and clean. That's all you need to learn. Yeah. So when it came to getting any type of education, there was nothing there. And it wasn't until my granddad intervened and then said, well, you're going to go to college. And I actually did something, and then I got distinctions and everything. At first I did a media course, but again my dad intervened, took me out with saying, Indian girls don't do anything in media, you're not supposed to do this. And then my granddad was like, no, you know what, you're not listening to your dad, you're living with me, you're going to do what you want to do. So then I thought, okay, let me try a secretarial course. So I did that and I enjoyed it. And then from there I left, and I just had the basic MVQ course that I'd done, and I got the job that I got. And from there, I've been there ever since for the last 24 years. Awesome. And I got the job not based on having a degree or anything else, which I haven't had. It was based on my ability to do my job and how I was around other people.
Yeah, it's attitude and growth mindset and getting on with what needs to be done and getting on with people. All of those things which are skills and things for us to develop and acquire. Fantastic. I'm going to ask one last thing on the journey part before we move on to the remaining other questions. Can you just define what a narcissist is, please?
Oh, it's somebody that breaks down your soul. It's like, the only way I can explain it is like with my ex-husband, he wasn't a narcissist. When we broke up, he just walked away and that was it. There was nothing else. With a narcissist, they can't let go. They don't want you, but they can't let go. They'll just come back like a pickaxe and they'll break you down. They'll pick at you and break you down with evil words. They'll break your soul. They'll say things that are going to hurt you. It's more different from any just like a normal person saying evil, horrible things. They really break you down to the point where I can put a narcissist, they have no soul themselves. They have no soul. For someone to be so evil and say nasty things and break you down, it's like I was in a relationship with a narcissist, and that for me was a bit hard because I'd never known even what a narcissist was until I became in this relationship. I was convincing myself that, you know, things were good and it was working out. Even colleagues at work would say to me, "Cool, what are you doing?" They could see what was going on. They tried telling me, and all I kept saying was, "No, I love him. I love him. It's all good." They could see how he was treating me from how I was telling them what was going on. I couldn't see it myself. All I kept thinking was, I've got to make it work. I've had one relationship, it didn't work out for 23 years. I've got to make this one work. And he took advantage of it, knowing what my weaknesses were. And he used that to get what he wanted out of me and out of the relationship, and then just kept breaking me down. It was a case of whatever he wanted, he would block me, then unblock me again to talk to me. It was all about what he wanted, when he wanted to talk, or when
control.
It was that control factor. And then I became stuck in this control where for me, I was thinking, oh, nobody's ever loved me, so he loves me, so I've got to do what he's saying, or try and be nice, you know, try and keep him sweet. It was hard to get out of. And in the end, when he did walk away, he didn't just walk away, he would torture me for 28 days. Every day, calling me up, saying nasty things, to the point where even when I was going through cancer treatment, and he turned around and said to me, "Go eat shit, go die." And I remember that evening, something broke inside of me. And I thought, you know what? Why am I even in this world? Maybe I shouldn't be here. And that day, I remember taking a whole bunch of pills, and I thought, you know what? Be careful what you wish for. But luckily, you know what? I survived. And I'll never forget the ambulance crew talking to me. And they were like, the way they talked to me, it was like, I don't know if I can say, it was like talking to an angel. Something hit me hard from inside. And they made me realize, you know what? He's not worth it. Look at what he's doing. Just don't listen to it. I could have blocked him the whole time, but I couldn't. It was in my head. I kept thinking, you know what? I love him still. He'll come back to me. He'll learn, you know, that he wants me. And all he kept doing was pretending one day he loved me, the next day being evil, saying horrible things. It was he enjoyed the game of breaking me down. He enjoyed it. And when in the end, one day I just woke up, I thought, no, this isn't going to happen anymore. I'm not doing things like I've always done for the last 2 years, allowing you to do what you did to me. And I put my foot down. I blocked him, didn't talk to him, and he did not like that. He couldn't stand it. The man would call all my friends, harass everybody, saying, tell her to call me. He'd ring from a withheld number, and then he'd leave evil messages. He even said he was going to come to my house and petrol bomb my house with my son inside. And I had to show that recording to the police. And then he still lied about it. He would say a lot of things and lie about it, make it look like I was going crazy, but I wasn't. Then I started recording conversations and things he was doing to show and prove to people, look, it's not me, it's him. They're very crafty. Narcissists are very crafty. They know exactly what they're doing.
Yeah.
Exactly what they're doing.
Well, I think the positive here is you've managed to escape away from that and recognize the character and the signs. So that's good. So no, that's been quite a wholehearted sharing on your journey and a whole variety of challenges. I'm going to pick up the pace slightly and also move on to the next question. So what are some of your daily habits and routines that support you? What are some of the things that bring you alive and inspire you each day? What are some of the things you do which give you energy? It's
got to be, even my friends always laugh at me. They say, even when I've had, let's say, an hour's sleep, I still get up buzzing and bubbly because I enjoy life now. For me, it's like after everything, all the crap that's happened in my life, everything's now gone to one side. It's like now I can see the sky differently, I smell things differently, I hear things differently. And for me, getting up, even at 5 o'clock in the morning, my friend will call me. This is our routine. We get up in the morning, we call each other while we're getting ready for work, talking to each other. And then from then I stem on to, like, it could be anything silly, like she'll say to me, oh, sing me a song. So I'll sing her a song. I can't sing, I'll probably make it rain, but it's the fact that I'll sing and we start laughing. And when you start laughing, it brings out some happiness in you, that, you know, a good memory, something good happens inside of you. And you think, you know what, fantastic, I'll carry on. And then I'll go to my son, annoy him, try and wake him up. And when that doesn't wake up, I'll sing to you as well. And he'll be like, Mom, please, God, I'll pay you, just stop, please. And I'll be like, I'll continue. And then I'll come downstairs, you know, and I'll see the cats and I'll be happy. You know, it's knowing that I'm a person of my own mind. I can, you know, it's nice to even sleep in your own bed and realize, you know what, nobody can tell me shit. No one's going to tell me I have to sleep on the edge of the bed like my ex-husband used to. You know, for years I became used to sleeping on that last little bit of the edge, just so that I wouldn't annoy him. It was nice to wake up and realize, you know what, I can actually put the light on, not get beaten up for putting the light on. I can actually move, make a noise on the, you know, the flooring without even somebody's, you know, getting angry. It's these little things that make me happy. I can get up and I'm actually able to do things that a normal person can do.
Yeah, it's a couple of things you shared with me is that you pray each day.
I do.
And you give thanks to God.
Yeah. My faith is quite big to me. There was a time when I'd stopped believing in God. For about 9 years, I kept thinking, why is all this happening to me? Everything bad, why is it happening? And I stopped believing. And then one day, I think I met somebody who was outside work. There was a lady with a Bible, and she started talking to me. And she goes, why don't you believe in God? And I told her everything that happened. And she was like, you'll be surprised. And she said to me, God doesn't sleep. He hears all, he sees all, and he just delivers. And I thought, okay, I'm going to go home and I'm going to have words with God. So I got home and I remember taking out my photos, the God photos I'd always put away. I hadn't them out for a long time. And I said, you know what? I said, in a way, I suppose I look back now and laugh. I think I was trying to bargain with God. And I know that sounds silly, but I was like, if you want me to believe you again, I want you to punish everybody that did wrong by me. And I'm not joking. Within 24 hours, everybody that had done me wrong, they got hit with an illness that they've got for life. And then I was like, wow, you know what? God is powerful. God is powerful. You fear God, he's there. And from there, my life just improved. It's like, if I feel down, I'll just put some prayers on.
Yeah. Okay,
and you know, it's at night, if I can't sleep, I'll put the prayers on.
Yeah, so faith plays a big part in prayer and giving thanks. And no, that's great. No, thank you for that. And some form of faith or belief is, you know, another key ingredient for happiness and longevity as well. So what something that studies have shown. What's one of your favorite quotes?
Oh, I'm not a, I was trying to say, I always got to remember I get it the right way around. I'm not a 1 in a million type of girl. I'm a once in a lifetime type of woman. Because there could be a lot of me, but I want it there's just one of me. I'm an original masterpiece.
Yeah. Excellent. Thank you. So that's a Kully quote. Achievements that you're proud of. If you just keep it to 3, when you shared with me, it was a double-digit list. But if you keep it to maybe the top 3 achievements you're proud of.
The first one I would say is martial arts, taking up martial arts. Because of all my health problems and because I've got scoliosis and back problems, I didn't think I could ever do anything like that. So taking up martial arts, for me, it was a big goal in my life that I achieved it. And it made me feel good. So I can do active things. I don't have to sit there thinking I've got, you know, back problems. I can't do stuff. I can do active things, and it felt good. It felt really good. Second one is passing my driving test, which I never thought I could do. When I started learning over 20 years ago, I couldn't do it. But this time round, I learned with my brother's best friend. He taught me how to drive, and I just did it. Even on the day that I went for my test, I didn't think I was going to do it. I did it. And that was fantastic. And the third one to say was getting people to actually like me for who I am. I didn't think. For years and years, I used to keep quiet. Now people look at me and think, nah, you could never shut up. There was a time in my life where I wouldn't even look up from the floor. I wouldn't even talk to people. I kept thinking, if I just keep myself quiet, people don't like me. Now, people want to talk to me and like me for who I am. And that's a big achievement. I'm a person. I exist. I'm somebody.
Yes. And you're giving out that positive energy and vibration, and that's what, attracts. So that's great. There's one more I'm going to share, which I think is an important one as well, which you shared with me, was how you helped a girl come off drugs and helped her stay clean. Yeah. That's just phenomenal, helping someone, shift away from a tough life to.
Yeah, my friend, she's come through a lot in her life, and again, life's been hard on her. A lot of things have happened in her life, and when I became friends with her, I don't know, what something just attracted us to becoming friends and being there for each other. And I supported her in everything to keep her, to keep her positive, happy, keep her realizing her worth, that she is somebody. Like, people made her feel like she was nothing, like she was just a person, just existing there. I made her realize, no, there's more to it. And I kept her off the drugs by being positive, helping her. If she's having a bad day, she would talk to me. I would keep her mind busy. If I didn't, she may well have gone back on the drugs. But you know what? And she's always been thankful to me. And you know what? As much as she's thankful to me, I'm thankful to her for her friendship, because she's helped me in ways that I probably couldn't have got through a lot of what had happened, especially after 2 years of, an abusive relationship with a narcissist. I couldn't have got through it without her.
Yeah, sounds like a good mutual relationship. Yeah, brilliant. Yeah. What is one of your favorite books and why?
Oh, you're going to laugh at this, but 50 Shades of Grey, not for that reason that everybody's thinking, but because it's a different love story, and it's quite intense, but I've enjoyed reading it. Yeah, there was another book when I was younger, but I can't remember the name of it. There was I think it was a story about back in the day. I remember there was something about Hitler being in the story and the young girl with a rabbit, and it was a story about the girl and this rabbit. It was like not a real rabbit, it was a teddy rabbit, but I can't remember what the book was called. But I used to enjoy that. But the second one, was 50 Shades of Grey.
Excellent. I'll give you a recommendation as well. That I was reminded of recently when I was having a conversation with a friend. 40 Rules of Love. So I think you'll enjoy that. It's a couple of stories within a story, but it's also the story of how a Sufi mystic Rumi became Rumi. It's awesome, and the 40 rules which are shared in there, the 40 Rules of Love, are the ones which you'll resonate with. So that's one which I recommend as one to pick up and have a look at. What did you learn from your parents?
Oh, I think how to be sassy and never talk back. And if somebody says to you, come over here, we're not going to slap you on, don't do it. Yeah. And
you mentioned your grandfather was
my granddad. Yeah, he was a big role model in my life for becoming the person that I am today. After everything was going wrong in my life, he was always there for me. Until he passed away, he was always there for me, and he made me a bit more stronger each time, making me realize that even as a girl, it's weird because a lot of people of his generation, they would always see girls as a lot more lower than boys. The boys were everything. My granddad was completely different. He was like, everything's equal. Girls and boys are equal. He brought up his own kids as telling them what my dad and everyone else and all the males in the family, you do the cleaning and you do the cooking with your wife. And that's how it's always been. And with me, my granddad made me realize, you know what? Yeah, you're a girl, but you're not any less than anybody else in the family. And he always kept me going, always.
Fantastic. That's really great. Who or what are your inspirers? That's our final key question.
Anthony Joshua. He's a boxer, and I find him very inspirational because he's very humble for what he does. He's got a lot of money, he's got a lot of fame, but he never acts up himself. He's very down to earth. He's very humble, and I think maybe it's because I like boxing that I feel a bit more towards him, that that he's an inspiration. But it's not only just about everything he's done in life, even where he started from, where he's come from in life. And where he is now. He's very down to earth and humble, and that's a good thing to be. You should never forget where you've come from. You should never think that money makes the world go round. It doesn't.
Yeah.
Money isn't everything, and he's a lot different from a lot of athletics who show off. He's not like that at all.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you for that. Is there anything that we haven't asked you that you'd like to answer, or anything else you'd like to share?
I think I covered everything, really.
Yeah.
Unless somebody else wants to ask me anything.
Yeah, that's a good opportunity to open up for a short Q&A. So if there is anything anyone would like to ask, we've got an opportunity to have a couple of questions before we do wrap up for the day. So there's a whole variety of things that Kully has shared on. Is there anything anyone would like to ask? Just raise your hand or drop it in the chat and we can ask. Okay, so yeah, some of your friends are sharing positive comments. Thanks for sharing. Clearly very brave, and it has been a very brave and courageous sharing. It's been very open and on this to share. A lot of these traumatic experiences you've been through. It's been really inspiring.
Thank you. But I've learned to be a survivor.
Yes. Simi, you've got your hand raised. I think it's been raised from when you joined. Is it something you want to ask, or is it by accident that it's been raised? You can press the space bar and unmute if you want to say anything, Simi.
I was just thinking you should answer back on there. Sorry. Jeff's asking, where do I see myself in 5 years' time? For me, I'm just taking each day as it comes. Every day it comes. I would like to think that I'm somewhere in 5 years' time helping other people in similar situations. I'd like to be somewhere where I can make a difference to somebody else's life. Yeah.
Yeah. And no, it's a great question. It's a great answer. And yeah, and I think part of it, what you're saying, is it being further progress as a person, as well as your impact.
Yeah.
5 years back. Yeah. So Rita's asked the question of how are you raising your children?
How am I raising them? I think by the skin of my teeth. I think I have good days and bad days. My kids will tell you I can go from being sweet as pie to acting bipolar. It's just every day is different. It is hard. I think because of things I've been through in my life, I think I've become a little bit more stone-hearted sometimes, and I've also got OCD, so I'm a bit of a clean freak, so I like everything to be regimental in its place, which can wind up my kids. But it's been really good, especially as I think my kids have been a backbone for me. With everything that's been going on in my life, sometimes, especially my daughter, I think she's been a lot more older in her ways than she should have been. It was like when she was younger, because I had no other family or friends to talk to, it was always my daughter. And I'll be talking to her, and people would look at me walking down the road saying, why are you talking to a little kid in a buggy? That was my only friend. I would talk to her and she would talk to me. And as I got older, she'd say some horrible things to me, something like teenagers do, but then she also said wise words to me and keep me going. And and they've kept me going. They've been my lifeline.
Wonderful.
It's not easy. It's been very hard, especially when sometimes you struggled financially in doing things, but I've got through it. Through it.
Well, you've just been given the best compliment by your daughter, Simi, saying, I'm
basically and I have to say thank you to Jeffrey, because he taught me how to, I think it was 2 years ago, how to get an overdraft, which I didn't know how to do. And he taught me how to do that. So thank you for that, Jeff.
Brilliant. Good. So the last question is the one from Mandip, which is, what kept you going in your darkest times? Prayers, children, or family?
It's was my kids. My kids kept me going. It was everything I do for my kids. Always, always. There was nobody else in the world for me that I had at the time. My friends had all left me at the time because of my ex. My friends had left. So it was my colleagues and it was my kids. They kept me going. My colleagues became my family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds like you've got an awesome bunch of people in your environment. So that's great. And yeah, it's really helping and support. So I'm just going to share a few final messages before we wrap up. So I'll just take another 2-3 minutes. So again, really just take the opportunity to thank you, Kully, for sharing your journey. And like I said, it's been a real eventful journey you've had from birth all the way up to now, and lots of challenges you faced and lots of scars which you've healed and worked through, and are helping others work through and inspiring them. So thank you so much for that sharing. I'd like to thank the Balance Consultancy for sponsoring the whole series. I'd also like to actually take the opportunity to thank Kully's friends for joining today and giving her moral support, as well as everyone else who's joined on the session. One of our future sessions, the last session really for the year, is one which we did last year called Looking Back, Looking Forward, where we worked through a booklet and take stock of the year that's just gone by and look at the year coming forward. It's structured, it's got some awesome questions and ideas in there to really help us capture some of the wonderful moments of this year, the learning points, as well as to look forward for next year. That's a 90-minute session. Investment is £20, but if you buy one of the happiness journals or a workshop or a course during November, you can come to it free. And Kully, I'm inviting you free to this session as a thank you. So if you're available and are able to, I would love you to join us. As mentioned, one of the workshops is the Gratitude Journal workshop. This is the first component of the 30-day Gratitude Journal Habit Immersion Training course. It's a 90-minute session where we really help you use the happiness journal, which you get as part of it, and build habits which empower you on positivity and focus and productivity. And it brings in some of the habit ideas from Atomic Habits and Stephen Covey's work, as well as a few others which I've come across. So that's one new offering that's available. If you aren't able to do the whole course, or if you want a little bit more than just a journal to really get going, that's there. The dates for the course are there, and the pricing for the various things are available. So those are what's there. And if you are happy to just share what your happiness score is now that we've come to the end of the session. Again, 0 to 10, you're allowed to use fractions and decimals, but not the number 7. How is it? Great. And for those of you who want to stay in touch or be connected with Happy Life Habits, various ways you can be, and various platforms we're on. So just feel free to join up on those. But yeah, the active ones are, the Facebook groups of It's Open to All, daily positivity being shared on there. And if you do want to attend any of the future Inspiration Point sessions, drop me a note and I'm happy to gift you a ticket. Partly one, it's World Kindness Day on Saturday. So as an act of kindness, happy to give you a ticket to the remaining 2 episodes, as well as it's Thanksgiving month. So another way of saying thank you to everyone who's supporting Happy Life Habits. So you're welcome to attend and join those. So with that, I thank everyone for joining us. I thank Kully again for your sharing, and I look forward to seeing all of you soon. Take care and goodbye.
Bye.